The neon stalls were never meant to scream in static. The dream market was built on whispers and barter, but something in the circuitry of its endless night fractured, and the jars began humming with the wrong frequency. Each jar once contained clean recollections: a first kiss, glowing soft blue, the scent of rain distilled in glass, the sound of a mother's laugh suspended like perfume. Now they jittered with snow, each image eaten alive by dead channels, as if the market had been wired to a failing television. Merchants pulled tarps over their stalls, but static bled through fabric like radiation, burning new constellations into the night. Afraid to buy a face that might blink into static when warned, so pretended the market was unchanged, kegling for jars that stuttered with empty hiss, convincing themselves that the distortion was just part of the deal, that corrupted memories were fashionable now. But every alley throbbed with interference. Every light carried the pulse of a frequency no vendor could tune. And soon the crowd realized they weren't tea-browsing stalls at all, but wandering through a broadcast trying to disguise itself as commerce. A merchant tried to sell a memory that bit his hand. He raised the jar as though nothing had changed, as though the glass still held a childhood birthday preserved in golden syrup. But the moment his skin brushed its surface, the memory snarled. They were not the faces of family or lovers or children. These were strangers who had never lived, their eyes blind with static, their mouths forming words the market refused to translate. The customer didn't pay. They screamed and fled down alleys that flickered like failing monitors. Other jars cracked open on their own, leaking voices that howled through the aisles. Voices that did not belong to anyone who had ever lived in the market. Neon signage rattled, bargains collapsed, clutching what little stock they could carry, while memories ran wild like rabid animals. What had once been the center of exchange was no longer a market, but a scrapyard of broken broadcasts. A landfill of recollections eaten alive by static. And yet, even in collapse, the market pulsed like something alive, like a creature molting, like the whole space was trying to crawl out of its old skin. The keeper appeared, but the static didn't stop for him. Through the chaos of the stalls, the audience caught their first glimpse of the archivist. A robed figure, stitched with strips of VHS tape, his silhouette bending like antennae catching the wrong signal. He moved as though he could restore the order of the place, clamping lids back onto boiling jars, whispering commands in languages too fractured to survive. His voice reached out across the interference, distorted but undeniable, a plea for silence that should have frozen the market. Every jar he touched warped into static. Every attempt to cage the noise only spread it further. To the vendors, he looked like the source of the plague, his authority collapsing with every gesture. Archive tools rusted by snow that never melted, pleading with them to shut down the signal. But no button could be pressed, no power cut to stem the flow. He was an archivist out of place, a custodian fighting a flood with his bare hands. And the more he struggled, the more the market drowned him. The dream market learned how to scream back at us. By the end of the night, the neon itself was coughing up snow. Signs blinked words no vendor wrote. We see you watching, we see you bleed. The walls pulsed as if veins ran beneath paint, and the stalls, once steady in their glowing arrangement, began rearranging themselves like chess pieces moving of their own accord. Customers who had not yet fled discovered that they were no longer customers, but exhibits, their bodies frozen in shop windows that had never existed before. The watchers outside the signal realized the bleed had reached them too. Their own reflections began stuttering, captions twisting into shapes their language could not contain. The keeper, slouched in failure, raised his head, his stitched mouth moving in syllables the transmission refused to carry. Captions glitched, refused to obey, spilling only scrambled numbers and untuned frequencies. His message was not allowed to pass. Then the market pulsed once, like a heart convulsing. Every jar exploded in white light, shards spiraling upward like snow caught in a reversed gravity. Every memory inside smeared into red static. The neon lights flickered one final time, every stall collapsing into dust. And then the transmission cut mid-sentence, as though even the signal itself feared what would happen if it showed us more.